Hi, Dr. McCartney. I just wanted to shoot a quick video to wrap up week 2 and to start off week 3. Before I do that though, I did want to tell you what I did yesterday. Yesterday was the Phoenix campus graduation, and it's always amazing to see all the graduates at the final steps of their process walking across the stage. It's really moving and powerful. I would say we had about, if I had to estimate, 3,000 graduates there and maybe 4,000 family. The room at the convention center was absolutely packed, but it was really cool. I know that some of you are getting close to graduating, so you might find out if there's a graduation ceremony near your local campus, or a lot of people actually fly out to the Phoenix campus if that's a possibility for you. I was there. I'm by day, my day job, I'm the assistant dean in the School of Advanced Studies. So I was there to hood the doctoral graduates with their graduation regalia, makes them kind of officially a doctor. So I think that's really cool. I always like to plant that seed in case you're thinking about going on to your doctorate. Just go straight through. Try not to take a break. It is so hard to get back in when you've taken a break before. But anyway, think about graduations on the horizon. It's really, really exciting. To talk about our assignments from last week, we had 2. We had the note-taking assignment where we you could creatively represent the information from chapters 1 through 4, and I got all different kinds of notes. It was really cool. I have PowerPoints and Word documents and handwritten notes. I'm not going to tell you how to think, especially not in this class, but I just want to make sure that you are understanding the material, those foundational elements of the first few chapters. We also had the essay on the critical elements of the first 4 chapters of free will and determination, and sort of reflecting on those concepts. That was one option. You had another option, which was to talk about the hindrance to critical thinking. Those should be, you should see the grades for those shortly, and please let me know if you have any questions about them. I do run all the essays through Plagiarism Checker, and I also run them through Grammarly, which checks your spelling and writing fluency. I usually attach the Grammarly report, and it's by no means to be taken as 100%. This is the only way. It's a good overall to say I have issues in passive voice, or I have sentence fluency problems. It gives you a good overall picture to see where you are writing level. All right, so the concepts from last week, how we think, that's what we were talking about, and critical thinking and the influences of our thinking, like society, pressures, and cultural norms, and heredity can affect how we think. But those ways of thinking shouldn't be, they're not written in stone that that's the way you have to think forever, and that we have self-determination and we have free will to think and evaluate and analyze to our own strengths and to our own individual processes. So that was influences of thinking, and then the ideas of truth with a capital T, and it's not what a personal truth is, it is what it is, and it is undeniable, and that is truth. And so when we talk about truth in the class in different discussion forums, make sure that's the truth that you're referring to. And we talked about knowledge, and that knowledge is very individual, and it comes from facts, and it comes from experiences, and it comes from really cool creative and critical thinking classes at the University of Phoenix. But it's individual, and it's molded, and it changes, and it's constantly evolving what our knowledge is. Our knowledge as an adult is not the same knowledge that we had as a child. Opinions, also individual, not shared by a collective group, because they are influenced by your own perceptions and your own thinking biases. But those are subjective by design, opposed to knowledge, which is closer but not completely objective. Perspective was I hope you thought that was a pretty cool chapter. It seemed like the discussion forum really took off on that chapter. And some of the things we talked about in perspective is getting out of the habit of thinking that the way you think is the way it is. It isn't. It's the way you perceive it to be. And they promote willing to change and willingness to think differently. And there's sort of a movement now for growth mindset, the idea that I'm not firmly planted in one spot. You know, you don't say, I'm terrible at math. You know, I have a lot to do to get better at math, would be growth mindset. And that's sort of in this class where, you know, I am kind of stuck in my ways, but I can shift and I can move. And hopefully our posts in our classroom, what I tend to see in the posts in the classroom are, here's my example of this is what happened to me. And because you're all so polite, there's not a lot of argument and discussion, like argumentation in the discussion, which is good. But what I see happening is, people will reply to other people's experiences that they agree with or makes sense in their schemata, rather than talking to someone who had a totally different experience and asking them why. I forget, maybe it was Thomas's post last week or earlier this week, and it was like the 5 whys. Just keep asking why until you get to a deeper meaning. We avoid things that are different than us. So it's good in this environment where it's safe and, you know, people are willing to talk to you about just about anything, you know, to ask those questions. Well, why do you think that way? You know, I don't, not to be, you know, challenging or rude, but I want to understand you. So hopefully we can do some more of that in the classroom. A good thinker doesn't make judgments. That was another thing that came out of this chapter and was in the discussion. And it just happened, I had a conversation with a colleague this week, and we were talking about first impressions. And I said, I'm notoriously bad at first impressions. Whatever it is, I'm probably 100% wrong about the person. I just have terrible judgment. And she said, I don't have any judgment at anyone. And she says, I would like to have some, but it takes me so long to get to know someone that it takes a long time for me to establish an opinion about them. So she's probably a better thinker than I am. But I'm also self-aware. And I think that's the combination of a good thinker, is to be, one, self-aware of where your limits are and where your hindrances are. And the other one is to suspend judgment as long as you can. We also talked about the last chapter in critical thinking and listening. What is truth? What are facts? How can we misinterpret them? And the difference between reading, skimming, evaluating, and reflection. And then listening, active listening and putting away your perception is very difficult. So that takes care of week 2, our fundamental concepts that we are going to keep talking about over and over and over again. If you have any questions, put them in the classroom and we can talk about them. For week 2 this week, we switched from critical thinking to creative thinking. And we first talked about the stages of creativity, and that had a lot of great discussion about the process of creativity and how we apply the process and what we do that's in line with that. I'm going to post in there a different process, a video of a musician from Austin. He's also an artist, and he is profoundly proficient in creativity. He probably writes a song a day. He's got 10,000 songs to his name. He has a song club where he gets together with other famous musicians. I think Jason Mraz is in the song club, and they give each other a word or a phrase, and they all have to write a song about it. He's also a decoupage artist, where he cuts out and assembles magazines from the 50s. And he probably does one of those a week. So I'm going to post that. His process is a little different. Some of you might identify with that. Also this week we talked about how creativity is reclaiming curiosity, and I think Shameen may have posted she did post a post about reclaiming curiosity. And I wanted to put this out there. How do children do that for you? How do they help you reignite that childhood curiosity? Just having them around. You know, tell me your experiences about that. Then lastly, the chapters were stating a problem and producing solutions. And if you get a chance, there's some warm-up exercises at the end of that chapter where they give you scenarios to think of solutions. It's actually kind of fun, like what would your stage name be or things like that. But it leads right into next week, where we're going to talk about taking a deeper look at formulating a problem and stating it accurately and succinctly and clearly so everyone understands the problem and there's not too many different interpretations of it. And then determining a possible solution. And your assignment in week 3 will be your first team assignment to come up with that problem and that solution. I will assign teams by Tuesday of this week, so if you have a preference or someone in the class you'd like to work with, please let me know in a private message right away so I can get those teams set up by Tuesday, the start of the week, and then you guys can start communicating within the team forum. Discussions this week were really heavy on the weekend, so if I haven't responded to each and every one of you this week, give me a little bit longer because I think most of the discussions came in today. It's Sunday. Anywho, welcome to week 3. I hope you are enjoying the class so far. If you have any questions or concern about how anything is going or about the assignments coming up, please let me know. Reach out to me through private message. Otherwise, have a great week.